G'day and welcome. Can you tell me where you're from and say hello and let me know who's on? And hi, I'm David Hunt. And g'day and welcome. Can you tell me where you're from and say hello?
I started off thinking
who's on?
And I've had quite a few new subscribers to the cryptocurrency review. I started off thinking I've had quite a few new subscribers. What I figured was I wanted to show them what I do and what I look for, cryptocurrency review, and how I think, and allow them to ask me questions. I wanted to show them what I do and what I look for, as you see in the webinar each morning. And allow them to ask the Gold Profit Hunter Group members, like Gold Profit Hunter members, can what do. My intention as you see in the webinars each morning. They're the Gold Profit Hunter Group members that come in cryptocurrency.
Now, this disclaimer and warning is general advice only by Adesh Trading Proprietary Limited, a corporate authorised representative AR 289 519 of Alpha Securities. Alpha Securities at AFSL is 330757 of Level 2, 22 Pitt Street. This is general advice and does not constitute financial product advice. It does not take into account your investment objectives, financial situations or particular needs. Prior to seeking advice from Adesh Trading Proprietary Limited, you should obtain and consider your broker's FSG and consider the product disclosure statement, PDS, issued by and available from alphasecurities.com.au or your broker or platform provider prior to investing. Minimum commission platform fees should apply. Now, some parts trading is risky. You may lose all of your money. Bitcoin is very volatile, and some parts of this is not advice. It's a look at cryptocurrencies which have unusual risks and unusual high risks and volatility. They are like leveraged instruments with no borrowings. Never leverage crypto trades. Now, Bitcoin is all about emotion.
Madeline, how are you going? Deb,
miners and electronics create Bitcoin, but humans are the ones buying it, like anything else, like gold, like the Aussie dollar, like BHP, like any other market. It is about emotion. So it's important that you understand that this is a very volatile market.
Okay, so
while I was sending out emails for this webinar, I found that I was getting a lot of anger coming back at me. And I'll explain about what's going on in that perspective of the market a little bit later on. So what I don't want you to do is to be like this, ready to shoot things, because Bitcoin certainly went up about 26,000 Aussie dollars and came back down pretty quickly to where we were able to trade at the other day, right on the right level. So Bitcoin has caused a lot of anger, and I got a lot of response from people today from email who were actually very angry that I was sending out emails about cryptocurrencies. So I suspect that the people who promoted Bitcoin very heavily and got people involved quite a bit have gotten people in at the wrong time. Now, just a few days ago, we launched out a buy. What I would rather you to do about trading is to be calm and wait for the right levels. And this is really important for me. So what we're seeing here, this was at February 6th at 19:19. Let's call it 20 past 7 in the evening. And I could see that Bitcoin was falling down into this area here. And we've been patient and patient and patient and patient and patient. And if you look back over here, I've written some things on the screen which talked about the stage that the market was in. And the stage that the market was in was getting ready for reversal. I'd already identified this mark as important for Profit Hunter Group members, okay? for the and for the cryptocurrency report subscribers. So we were finally seeing a struggle street pattern on the short term, so it's getting near or is at the end of this short-term decline. It becomes a buy on a break about above 6,500 and a nibble now at 6,200, that's US dollars, or down to 6,150. For the Brave with a stop loss, it was at 59.95. Now at that time, I rang a couple of the Profit Hunter Group Gold members who are sophisticated investors and told them to buy. So why was I doing that? Well, there was quite a number of reasons, but we'll have a look at now at the chart of Bitcoin at the moment, and we'll have a look at where things are and where things were. And you can also see the major things that are in the markets. I want you to remain calm. Okay, these were the stages that I saw in this market. And you can see I've written them on there here. So we're calling this the hope and pray stage of the decline. So what happened was basically Bitcoin had rip-roared right up from a breakup around about just around the 6,000 area. So it had gone all the way up to this high level and then broken down. You can see the increasing volume. So I saw this reaction as a B wave. This one down here was a wave. This is a B wave. And you can see the confusion, and we can see in Elliott terms, I was saying this is wave 4 of wave C. Okay, I can't, unfortunately. So what I said was we're finally seeing a struggle street pattern short term, so it's getting near to the end of this short term decline. It becomes a buy and a break above 6,500 US dollars. This is important. This is Bitcoin USD, and this is the date and time that I have up there. They're all tagged. So it becomes a buy and a break above 6,500 and a buy now, 6,200 US dollars, or a dip down to 6,150 for the Brave with a stop loss at 59.95. Now here's for the PHG members and also for the cryptocurrency review members. You will see here I have a series of posts along here. The latest posts, and this will appear on this, we have 10 or 15th of the latest posts. As you can see here, these are for the World Indices transcripts and DCC and all the other things. But you can go down to the categories and click on here, and this is what I'm really looking for. You can see the Hippo cryptocurrency reports for each of these. You can see here there's a question from Mr. B who was looking at Funfair. And I answer questions there. And so look at that post. Now for the gold members who are RSS Gold Feed members and get the alerts, you can get an email each time there is a post on here. So we can see here, what a ride down to 6,000. I picked up, this is Mr. B, I picked up some at 6, 9, 8, and 7.5, and I got some at 7.5 as well. So, and that was around the time of that 6,200 low. So anyway, he says back on topic, he says crypto crazies. I said if it hits 2.5 cents, then use the shed technique and a stop at. Shed technique means buy a lot, buy a shed load, and stop at 2 cents. The low was actually 3 cents. FunUSD was born at the Raton, over a bit of humour. It gets better on a close above 6.2 cents with a stop loss at 3 cents. Now, I've got a little bit off track, but what we're seeing, I want you to show you the Bitcoin chart now, and we might have a look at Funfair later. So this is the relief stage where it rallies. This is the hope and pray stage. And notice the general public came in heaps. And I was asked to write an article for the Your Trading Edge magazine, which is out today. So I think it's out today, or it has come out. So if you've read that, let me know. I'd like to know whether people actually read it. And it was right up the top, and their issue now was on Bitcoin. That was the issue for January. And then the top was in. People are madly getting accounts and can't get into its account. Then it collapses. Then we see an ABC rally to the top side, which is an AB, a three-wave structure. And I think we saw people getting out in this stages. And in this stage, I was noticing quite a few young people who had been getting into Bitcoin, like way lower down, were starting to actually sell their Bitcoin and buy houses. I saw this in 5 cases. So a lot of the selling was people who'd made money from buying it at $300 or $150 and then buying houses. So we were in that stage down. Then it went into the confusion stage. If you've done any of my Elliott Wave webinars, you'll know what that means. And then the last leg out is get me out and I'm panicking stage. And so this, when it got down into that 6,000 area, I was all over it, ready for it. And I just like a cat on a hot tin roof. And I said to Azad, I think I have to go look at where the market is, because I was talking about 61.89, which is this old top over here as being support. The low in this case, I think I can't do this properly. Yeah, the low over here was it's a bit hard to see with this one. Never worked with live charts and children, but I like doing it. I prefer it to doing with screens. So the low over here was 6,000. So what's $200 between friends? So this is Bitcoin on Finex. Since then, we've had a bit of a rally. Notice the volume was quite high, and since then it's rallied at the moment and hasn't done all that much. It's only done a three-day rally. So if you look at my report for today, you will see, if we go down here, we can pick it up. That's the Hypto cryptocurrency report. Just to click on there. Is this helping you? Is this helping you see what I do? So the Hypto cryptocurrency report, it comes out this morning. It has the video. We were talking about the, you can see some charts on it, so you see all the way through. And we look at the Bitcoin futures, and we have a little bit of cartoons and stuff in there. And somebody else edits it, so I don't have to jump in. And we talk about Bitcoin, gold, and Dash. Okay, so at the moment, here's what my thoughts were with Bitcoin. Again, we see volume characteristics being good on the bottom, but not good on the rally. We see 9,000 as a critical level to get through, and it's nudging you to the old lows. That needs to be edited, which is one of the reasons why I set some profit take. If you went long, I said take some profit. This is a transcript, comes from my Dragon Naturally Speaking as I actually speak it out. The best place for a rally, and not necessarily enough the small coins. That needs a bit of an edit there. So that's coins. At some stage, the small coins will come into their own, but given the general level of public disinterest and taste for cryptos, it may take a while. In other words, what we're seeing here is a bargain for cryptocurrency buyers, because come mid-March, it may well start to go into new highs. But at the moment, we are finishing the C wave leg, right? And this is Kevin, one of us, Whittier Profit Hunter Group Gold members are. Kevin says the Dow today is given, with the Dow's violence, cryptos are more stable. Now, there's a few things about Bitcoin Cash. I talked about Bitcoin Cash. It's having a rally right now, and it's a manipulated currency. So it's manipulated by one of the bigger criminals in the crypto space, a gentleman called Roger Ver. I shouldn't say that. I don't know whether he's really a criminal, but what I do see him as being a person who doing some things to manipulate his currency. You know, that's just simple. He controls it. Now, notice that Bitcoin Cash, and this is on the daily chart, is doing way better than Bitcoin. Now, this is usually the product of a manipulation by Roger Ver and his friends. It does show that probably rallies back up to about 1600. And thanks for telling me. I've got to keep looking at the other screen. And so it was up at $3,800. That was a big manipulation that came from here. And then it fell really quite aggressively. It fell basically more than, what are we talking about here? 800. Let's call it, it fell about 60% or more than that, 80% to new lows. It's not one that I trust. So when it runs up, it's usually a strange one. So at the moment, we can see the whole space is a little bit lower at the moment, but Bitcoin Cash is one not to trust. Write that down. Don't trust big moves in Bitcoin Cash. You might want to go for it. You might want to look down towards 1,020, but have a stop loss below 800 and hope that it gets back up to $1,600. Is that making sense for you? Now, the important thing for all of the new Hypto Cryptocurrency Report members is to go to the login area, Profit Hunters Group login, and put in your password and then log in. And then all of these things that you're subscribed to will appear. So I got a bit upset last night, because I actually warned that on the 30th of January, I put a video up, I put a forecast up warning that the S&P 500 had topped or was in the process of topping, because mathematically it should have hit 2870. On the day, I think it was of the 26th of, and this is the way to go and have a look at past posts. And this is one reason I'm doing this for you, to look back on past posts. On the 26th of January, and I think the 24th of January, I put up for the world indices, 2870 is probably the best place that if you want to stick an order in to sell the S&P 500 cash index, that you will have this quarter. It would not be something you will hold on to if it doesn't work, so you have to have a stop loss around about 2895 or 2900. The market will be well and truly stuffed full of US equities at that point. So that is the point to fail at. That's 2870. Now, some of you may know that the S&P 500 actually topped at 2872. Where is it? So this is what I was saying here, 2872. 2870 is the best place if you want to stick an order to sell the S&P. And this was on the 24th of January at 8:41 p.m. Okay, 41 a.m. Sorry. So this is probably the best place if you want to stick an order to sell the S&P 500 cash index that you will have this quarter. It will not be something you will hold on to if it doesn't work. You have to have a stop loss at 2895 or 2900. So time will tell. The market will well and truly be stuffed full of US equities at that point, so it's the best place for a failure. So the S&P 500 cash index, this is why I get upset, because I try and do the webinars, forecast webinars for people to be aware of these things. Profit Hunter Group members know these in advance of when they happen usually. And what we've seen here is the S&P top. That's the number off the machine, 2872.87, and there's the collapse you saw. And that was, when I wrote that, that was the 24th, which was just after the 23rd close. So it was, I had this bar as an information, and I targeted there. And I think I might have mentioned it earlier, the mathematics that I was working at about 4 or 5 days before. So, and do you remember that? That's probably gold members probably remember that. So 2869 is the big target in the E-mini. Up there having some shorting shoes and maybe a bear suit and parachute. At the moment the beat goes on, and 2868 is a pretty big target. Now, I did say don't expect it to be the absolute top. I think we haven't had a fourth wave. The same thing, 2869 is the big target. there is worth having some shorting shoes and maybe a bear suit and parachute. At the moment, the beat goes on. 28.68 is a pretty big target. We are missing a real fourth wave, so don't expect it the absolute top, but it could be a nice one to have a play with on the short side. So I called the top. Did I expect it was the end of the world? I didn't know there was an underlying time bomb. So now that I know how to use this better, I use a completely different webinar software for the live ones. I'm happy to throw it open to questions for you. So number one, make sure you're logged in. Number two, go and have a look at the categories where you can look for the cryptocurrency reports and posts that I give in answer to the Profit Hunter Group members, gold members through the day. I'm happy to throw it open to questions for people. And for the time being, what I'll do is, for those people who are currently Hypto Cryptocurrency Report members, I am going to throw it open to you for not just $97 a month. Normally, Profit Hunter Group Gold members pay $527 a month for the privilege, and Profit Hunter and Hypto Cryptocurrency Report is at $197 for no questions asked, but getting the answers. So for an upgrade to those people who have subscribed for just $97 a month, you can ask me questions as you're about to do right now. So hopefully, I'll put that up for a little while. So Tom, we're not talking about the S&P. We can do that later. We're talking about cryptos here. So what's the best platform to trade cryptos? That's a great answer, great question there, Ken. And I answer this a lot depending on which crypto. Where are you? Which cryptos? What currency are you trading with, Ken? And so a couple of people asked me about doing a seminar or an in-depth webinar on what crypto and where to trade and all that sort of stuff. So it depends on what cryptos you want to trade, what currencies you are. So it's a little bit beyond the next 20 or so minutes that we've got left. So if you want that, if you want to do something like that, send me an email. I've got a list of people who are interested in that sort of thing. Can't set a stop in BTC markets. There are some exchanges that do stop losses. That's correct. BTC markets doesn't have a stop loss. Most of the Australian ones do not. So that's something that we need to probably you can address in a few different ways. So now notice over here, Shark Tank, we're starting to get a bit of a drumbeat of better news. Crypto markets don't quite behave as badly as the Dow. And we also notice here that the CFTC is being nicer and the SEC is being nicer to cryptos. Wyoming could become a blockchain capital of the world, says that whoever that person was. So the bad news is kind of running out of it. But yeah, we'll do something on cryptos and all that sort of stuff. So any other questions to do with the cryptos themselves? We'll have a look at Ethereum. Now, Ethereum in the start has been quite a strong one. I'll just take that offer down. If anybody's interested in that, you can email me afterwards. It ends in 2 hours, that offer. So I'll leave that up for you. Happy to, actually, it's not in your way, hopefully. So this is better. I can switch back. You don't understand, Karen? That's exactly why I do the webinar and stuff, okay? Did futures start trading on BTC? This is the BTC futures, Adam, at the top, basically, on the 18th of December last year. That's the BTC futures. Now, there is another one. Now, BTC futures trades fairly reasonable volume for this type of market. It's obscure. It's not the main one that the world is that interested in. But you can see here, so far today, it's traded about 4,334. and contracts, and on the low it traded 4,320. This is 816 yesterday, 4,000 whatever it is. So that would be on, say, call it 10,000 Aussie dollars worth. That's about 4.4 million Aussie dollars worth of cryptos. I think there are actually, Bitcoin futures has more than one Bitcoin in it. That's the BTC markets on the CME. Now the other exchange was XBT, and it was started on here. It gives, sorry, that's the BTC. There's another one. Interesting. Okay, let's pick this up. Different one. These are the inverse futures contracts, and this is XBTC, and it started trading a couple of days before, about a week before, and I think it was around about 7th or 8th or 12th or something like that. So they're definitely trading again. This one's doing volume somewhere in the order of, it'd be nice if this service actually showed you the volume on the chart here. Anyway, about 4,742 contracts that it started trading. I'm pretty sure it started trading the week before, and that's on the CBOE. This data says BitMEX, but the CBOE contract, let's have a look at that one. Probably got this better one up here. XBT, there we go, Bitcoin, CBOE Bitcoin futures. So CBOE, and this data, see here, that's the top, and all this other data, it started at the top and worked its way down. This data is actually before this is interpolated data based on Bitcoin. Let's look at the BTC futures, which is the, curiously enough, I think we got a bit of confusion here because there's XBT and BTC, and one of them is on the CBOE, and the other one is on the Chicago Board of Options. Brian, the webinar has not finished. And where have we got here? Bitcoin, CME, Bitcoin, CBOE, Bitcoin. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so here's the CBOE Bitcoin futures, and I'm pretty sure it started either on the 7th or around the 12th, just before that. Okay. Does anyone want to look at any cryptocurrencies? Because I'm happy to answer specific, at least your questions. Let's look at Bitcoin Gold. Now, I want to show you something. This is one that basically anyone with a graphics card can mine. When Bitcoin was going crazy, it went up. It went up from being as low as about $56 to up to $478. It's not going to be any good because there is such a large amount of graphics card out there, and you can mine Bitcoin Gold. Bitcoin Gold came from a fork of Bitcoin. Bitcoin Cash came from a fork of crypto. So how do we trade cryptos? Brian, we use an exchange. We have to buy, we have to put a deposit money like Aussie dollars or US dollars into an exchange. That's Aussie dollars and US dollars are in the cryptocurrency world called fiat money. And what we see is that fiat money, there's a number of exchanges. If you'd like to, I can send you a link on the one that I use. I found it to be, if you want that, just send me an email afterwards
I'll send that to you. I use one. I actually have 2 exchanges in Australia, and possibly I'm starting up with the 3rd one, so that at different times, the exchanges, when they get scared, have different rules of being able to put money in. So what I do is I want to be not dependent on one exchange, but I can certainly send those. So first off, you need an exchange. And what I should do here now is just type it in for you at some stage, so that we I'll just create it so you can see it, and I'm going to speak it so it will type all sorts of weird shit. So, how to trade Bitcoin and cryptos. Deposit some money into an exchange. This will generally take 3 to 5 days and more, depending on whether you have verified your identity and how long they take to do that. The next one is go into that exchange and set up to buy some cryptocurrencies. The exchange you choose will depend on a few things. Which currency you have to put in, e.g. Australian dollars. And that will tend to be basically dependent on which country you're in, and you'll tend to have an exchange there. Then, when you want to trade more exotic cryptocurrencies and ICOs, you probably need to go to offshore exchanges which do not take Australian dollars or even US dollars. I can't go into it at the moment, but if you want to do the full webinar or become a cryptocurrency report subscriber, gold member, I'm happy to answer your questions on that and more. Okay, so I can't see whether the screen's okay. Have you heard anything new on Tether? Can I post the link? Yeah, please email me that one. Just email me. Or go through the Profit Hunters site through the messaging system, and I'll send you the exchanges and things that I use. Okay. What are the minimum amounts you can start purchase to the start? Basically, it's pretty well low. I've bought $10 worth of stuff when I've had a little bit of cash there. I've bought $25 worth of stuff when there is there, you know. So, you know, and I've bought, you know, $20,000 worth of things at a time, if not more. So it just depends. The minimum amounts are not, you don't really need to have huge amounts. And in fact now it's time where you can jump in for not as much risk as you used to when Bitcoin was up at $20,000. And I'm not recommending jumping in right now because we need to work out a stop loss and everything for you. But at the moment it's probably done enough and comes back down a little bit. So looking for pullbacks at the moment and bargains to see if it proves itself down here. And what we do is raise our stop loss up. So
there was a question about Ripple, I think from, was it Karen? Karen, you don't understand the storage part of it, and that's something that we work with that. Who mentioned Ripple? That was Deb, sorry. So Ripple, banks apparently use Ripple. Now, I have a confession to make, and it's quite an embarrassing confession. I loved Ripple, and I loved Ripple down here, and I was encouraging people to buy Ripple, or at least I was buying it too, at 20 cents, and I thought it might go to 55 cents. And it did. So I put an order on down here. I was buying, and then I put an order at 55 cents, and I got filled. And then I got a message from my son, and my son says, "Oh, what about Ripple, Dad? I've just bought it." I said, "Oh, it's 70 cents. I've missed it. You know, I basically tripled my money, and guess what? It's about 70 cents now, and I'm just feeling really bad." And it went on to $3. Went up to just over $3. Now, Ripple is a mystery, and I must say a mystery because notice there was a huge long base and it did some beautiful things. But so I've got a little bit of a annoyed feel on it, but it's now back down into that area. It's not doing that well. Ripple has something like 5 billion shares outstanding, or Ripple, whatever they are, is outstanding. Yes, the banks use it, but it's come back down aggressively. I think it will probably spend a lot of time going sideways as it did over here, and then build up some momentum to the top side. So Ripple is a watch, wait and see. Don't get too excited about it because there's an abundance of oversupply of Ripple in the world. You know, it would be something you look for investment. I don't know if you can get a return on it. So if you're looking to get into Ripple, you don't have to be in a big hurry there, Deb. It could take a lot of time. Now, Litecoin, I'll tell you something about Litecoin as we're just finishing it up. Now, Litecoin was completely a plagiarism of Bitcoin, except for a few reasons. In the original work of Satoshi Nakamoto, the creator of Bitcoin, in the original creation, Bitcoin had no limit on the information that a message could have. They talk about a 1 megabyte limit in Bitcoin. That was imposed by Satoshi Nakamoto to stop spammers, actually clogging up the transactions, because at that time a pizza would be worth 30,000 Bitcoin. Now one pizza would cost you 0.000001 of a Bitcoin. So Litecoin was a cloned copy of Bitcoin without the limits. Litecoin had over here, we found out that the owner, the creator of Litecoin, sold all of his coins and gave them to charity or something like that. And since then, this has been slow and boring. Now, Deepak is asking, aren't these sort of things created only for trading and not real world use? Well, that's not if you live in Africa, Zimbabwe, where your inflation rate in your own currency was so high that you had to carry a truck to buy a load of money, cash, to buy a loaf of bread. Natalie is asking, can we have the link to your cryptos currencies where charts and fundamental collide, please? I don't have that. If anybody has that, if you go to yte.com.au, you can find that, yte.com.au. That's in there. It's an article that they publish there for their subscribers. So Litecoin
is interesting. It's fast. It doesn't cost as much for payments and things as well as Bitcoin has. Now, recently there was a drama with Bitcoin being very expensive to transfer. And what I'm saying here, Deepak, sorry, I got a bit sidetracked with the last question, is that if you're in a country where you've got a mobile phone and you can, and you're living there and you don't have a very reliable currency that are very strong, and you've got relatives who are, say, working in Paris, they can send you Bitcoin, and then you can go and pay in Bitcoin in those countries to vendors and merchants who take Bitcoin. So there's a very real live market in cryptocurrencies, particularly Bitcoin, and actual real exchange going on. It was beginning to happen in India, and I think the Indian government started to get it blocked. But Africa, certainly, Zimbabwe, I believe Kenya, and a few of those other countries have very, and also, funnily enough, Nigeria, they've actually been scammed pretty well, extremely by scammers from, there's some funny stories about that. So what's the difference with Bitcoin? Bitcoin, it will only have 21 million Bitcoins ever mined. At the moment, we can pick up here and look in here, and we can see that currently there is some 16.853 million Bitcoins in existence. And you can see this fairly straight line going up. Every day there's about 144 Bitcoins created. I think it's 144 Bitcoin created. And the rules change on this. So Kevin says in non-internet countries, they need to develop Bitbeads. So these are really things people buy and sell in cryptos. I think you can buy a Tesla in Bitcoin. You can certainly buy houses in Bitcoin. There are people who sold their houses for Bitcoin when Bitcoin was $5,000 US. It's now currently about $8,000 US, so that's not bad at all. So yeah, there are real things in there, and the good thing about Bitcoin and cryptos is they're not regulated by governments who are deflating them all the time. So median transaction with transactions per block, there was a lot of things that there were big fees coming in, and I think we've got a fee, total transaction fees in US dollars. So these have dropped quite substantially from this peak where everybody got in. So it's more come back to being a normal market in Bitcoin. Okay, I was surprised you didn't want to ask about different various ICOs and cryptocurrencies. Happy to help if you want to do that. That's probably best through the crypto. And remember, there's only 7 available on the gold membership for gold cryptos at that price. And if you want to join, I don't know if I've got a link for that. I can actually, I'll put up the link for the PHG membership. So if you want to get involved with what I do, have a look at here at the cryptocurrencies, or if you want to go to full gold, that includes cryptos, the ability to ask me, and that is $7,500 for the year. If you'd like to do that, you need to put in an application for this. And that's with the full box and dice, 5,000 without the updates. And you get everything that I do, as you've seen, forecasts, speed webinars. Over here, this is how you log into the speed webinars on that section there. If you are wanting to just see what happens, with what I do. Full Silver gives you everything that gold members see and ask me about, and you'll see the answers to the questions that I give. Cryptocurrencies. So Full Silver is, I think, 4,000. Cryptocurrencies here site you can get access a month, and if you want the ability to ask me questions, it's $97 per month. So, okay. I hope you've learned something here. I've certainly learned something about Kevin and BitBeads, and I appreciate what you've done, and happy to hear your feedback from emails. Send me an email about other questions, or go to the Profit Hunter site, and just you can go through and ask me a question through this box here. And if you want those exchanges and things and where to trade, contact us. Thanks everybody. Have a beautiful day. Enjoy yourself. I better get out of here. The fun's just started. Cheers. Bye bye. Thank you everybody for attending.